Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get started.
The Hyundai Bayon and the KIA Stonic compete in the same market segment, as they are two light and small SUVs with 5 homologated seats. In this article we compare them and analyze their differences so you can more easily decide which one to buy. Despite having a very similar length, belonging to the same business group and sharing many of its components, the platform on which they are built is different. In both cases, their construction is based on architectures that are used in conventional cars such as the Kia Rio or the Hyundai i20, so that Bayon and Stonic can be considered crossover, i.e., slightly raised cars with larger bodies. Hyundai Bayon Kia Stonic both have simple finishes and a relatively spacious interior, although with somewhat tight rear seats and trunks that make them cars intended for use in mainly urban environments. They stand out for a good quality/price ratio, for a high degree of efficiency, and for having some engines with light hybridization, MHEV. They are, in our opinion, excellent purchase options as a second car in a family unit and as a first car for a novice driver. If you want to consider more alternatives, some of its rivals and other brands are the Seat Arona, the Citroën C3 Aircross, or the Nissan Juke. Exterior dimensions. The Hyundai Bayon is 4.18 meters long, 1.78 meters wide and 1.50 meters tall with a wheelbase of 2.58 meters, while the Kia Stonic is 4.14 meters long, 1.76 meters wide and 1.50 meters tall with a wheelbase of 2.58 meters. In other words, the Bayon is 4 centimeters longer and 2 centimeters wider than the Stonic, but just as tall. It also has exactly the same wheelbase. The differences are so small that, as detailed in later sections, they do not have too relevant effects on the habitability, load capacity, or maneuverability. On the other hand, the ground clearance between the body and the ground is 16.5 centimeters in both cases, insufficient to drive on uneven surfaces with guarantees of not rubbing the underbody. Measurements: Hyundai Bayon Kia Stonic length, 4.180-4.140 width, 1.775-1.760 height, 1.500-1.500. Wheelbase, 2.580-2.580 ground clearance, 165-165 front track width, 1.551-1.531 rear track width, 1.557-1.539 turning diameter, 10, 410, 4 Hyundai Bayon Kia Stonic interior dimensions and habitability. The interior of the Hyundai Bayon is almost the same as that of the Kia Stonic. Although there are some divergences in the cabin dimensions, they are almost negligible in practice. For example, the Stonic is 2 to 3 centimeters longer for the first row of seats and 1 centimeter wider. In contrast, the Bayon has up to 4 centimeters more headroom in the same place. For the rear seats, the Hyundai model has up to 7 centimeters more length, the most notable difference, and 2 centimeters more width, being identical to the Kia available height between bench and roof. Considering that the Bayon offers slightly more trunk space, as we will see below, it is clear that space has been better optimized in the Hyundai. In other words, it provides a more favorable cabin, but we do not believe that to a sufficient extent to opt for one product or another. Hyundai Bayon interior. Kia Stonic interior trunk. The trunk capacity is 411 liters in the Hyundai and 352 in the Kia, which in practice means being able to store a hand luggage or a sports bag more in the luggage space. In both vehicles, the backrests of the second row of seats can be folded down, increasing the volume to 1,205 in the Bayon and 1,155 in the Kia. Regarding the minimum space available for cargo, the depth is 77 centimeters in the Bayon compared to 62 centimeters in the Stonic. This allows placing Longer objects, being width and height almost equal, slightly in favor of the Hyundai in both cases. When it comes to placing the packages inside, it is also easier to do so in the Bayon, as the loading mouth is 5 cm lower than in the Stonic. Measurements: Hyundai Bayon Kia Stonic minimum trunk, L, 411 352 maximum trunk, L, 1.205 1.155 trunk Hyundai Bayon trunk Kia Stonic engine and performance. Hyundai Bayon and Kia Stonic share their only two gasoline engines, there is no diesel alternative, and their 3 available power levels. They also have nearly the same lightweight hybridization options via 48-volt grid and powertrain. In both cases, the Access engine is 3-cylinder, naturally aspirated, and has 1.2 liters of displacement and 84 horsepower of maximum power, very little recommended outside the city. The other is also 3-cylinder, but is turbocharged and has 1.0-liter displacement and 100 or 120 horsepower maximum power depending on the version. The 1.2 MPI/DPI, 84 horsepower, is linked to the C label of the DGT, while the 1.0 TGD, 100 or 120 horsepower, can be associated with the ECO label if it has microhybridization. This system, which is not capable of powering the vehicle electrically, comes standard on all versions of this engine for the Stonic, and on the most powerful version of the same for the Bayon, being optional for the intermediate variant of the Hyundai, 100 horsepower. The traction is always front-wheel drive, there is no 4x4 system for these models, and the power to this axle is transmitted through a manual gearbox with 5 ratios in the basic engine and a manual with 6 speeds or dual-clutch automatic with 7 ratios in the one that offers higher powers. Below is detailed in which versions of each car can be installed robotic box, as well as their performance. Hyundai Bayon engine range. Gasoline 1.2 MPI 84 horsepower, MAN, C label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 13.5 seconds and top speed of 165 km per hour. Gasoline 1.0 TGD 100 horsepower, MAN, label C, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.7 seconds and top speed of 183 km per hour. Gasoline 1.0 TGD 100 horsepower MHEV 48V, MAN or AUT, ECO label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.7 seconds and top speed of 183 km per hour. 1.0 TGD 120 horsepower gasoline MHEV 48V, AUT, ECO label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.4 seconds and top speed of 185 km per hour. Kia Stonic engine range gasoline 1.2 MPI 84 horsepower, MAN, C label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 13.5 seconds and top speed of 165 km per hour. Gasoline 1.0 TGD 100 horsepower MHEV 48V, MAN, ECO label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.7 seconds and top speed of 183 km per hour. Gasoline 1.0 TGD 120 horsepower MHEV 48V, MAN or AUT, ECO label, acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.4 seconds and top speed of 185 km per hour. Hyundai Bayon engine Kia Stonic engine consumption. Both Bayon and Stonic weigh just over 1 ton unladen, from 1,045 kilograms for the Hyundai and from 1,080 kilograms for the Kia. Their aerodynamic coefficient is also very similar and their engines, as we have already mentioned, are identical. That is why the differences in consumption between these two cars are derisory in theory and negligible in real driving conditions. Be that as it may, their manufacturers have managed to homologate a fuel consumption that allows them to be classified as efficient vehicles in relative terms, as there are models with more powerful diesel engines that spend less fuel. With the 1.2 naturally aspirated 84 horsepower engine, the Bayon consumes 5.6 L/100 km and the Stonic 5.7, with the 1.0 turbocharged 100 horsepower engine and microhybrid system, the Bayon consumes 5.2 L/100 km and the Stonic 5.4, with the same engine in its 120 HP version. The Bayon consumes 5.3 L/100 km and the Stonic 5.7. It should be noted that these figures are obtained under the WLTP procedure, so they are significantly lower than those that could be achieved during conventional use. Equipment. The Hyundai Bayon finishes are structured in 4 levels: Essence, Max, Techno, and Style. For its part, the Kia Stonic are scaled as follows: Concept, Drive, and GT line. As you move up the range of each car, the technological equipment increases gradually and almost closed packages are offered and few options open to customization. Something similar happens with the quality of some trim materials and with the attention to some details that offer a more elegant or sporty look. There are no major differences in the number of elements that can be installed in one model or another, as they are manufactured by the same company under different commercial signatures. In combination with the Access trim, both products already have 6 airbags, ISOFIX anchorages for CRS in the main rear seats, driving aids such as automatic emergency braking, hill start assist and cruise control, tire pressure monitoring, multifunction steering wheel, fully adjustable and leather-wrapped steering wheel, air conditioning, for electric windows, automatic engine start/stop, door mirrors and door handles in the same color as the body, multimedia touch screen compatible with all major cell phone operating systems, 6 loudspeakers, at least 1 USB-A port, etc. You can get more detailed information in our configurator. Conclusion: which one should I buy? Hyundai Bayon and Kia Stonic are two very similar cars from a technical point of view and with a similar purchase cost. Both are good for easy and economical driving in the city or commuting between urban centers. That is why, even though they are practically equal in terms of performance, quality and positioning, their design and the buyer's subjectivity in this respect can make the difference. However, it is clear that the Bayon has a subtly higher load level for the trunk and livability, a slightly lower consumption and a price that, at least in CarWow, makes it about €800 cheaper. In addition, it is a somewhat more modern vehicle, as it was introduced in early 2021. The Stonic, while it received an update that same year, was launched on the market in 2018. Even if only by a little, we believe that the Hyundai is more recommendable. In conclusion, both the Hyundai Bayon and the Kia Stonic offer compelling features and stylish designs that cater to the needs of modern drivers. The Bayon stands out with its spacious interior and advanced technology, making it a great choice for families and tech enthusiasts alike. On the other hand, the Stonic impresses with its sporty aesthetics and customizable options, appealing to those who prioritize style and individuality. Ultimately, the decision between these two vehicles will depend on personal preferences and priorities. Whichever you choose, both models exemplify the quality and innovation that the Hyundai and Kia brands are known for. Thank you for watching, and we hope this comparison has helped you in your car buying journey.